Our next and potentially last artist is Dan Machlin. Was born and raised in New York City. This is Dear Body. It's his first book-length collection of poems, put out by Ugly Duckling Press. He has several chapbooks, 6x7, also by Ugly Duckling Press, This Side Facing You by Hammer Press, and In Rem by At Press, as well as Above Islands from Imminent Audio, an audio CD collaboration with singer and cellist Serena Jost. Dan is the founding editor and publisher of Future Poem Books and a former curator of the Segway series at Bowery Poetry Club in New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, Dan Machlin. And afterwards, some books for sale. You could also hold this book forever. Afterwards, though. Business after pleasure. Dan.
Thanks a lot. It's nice to read with Frank and Dottie, and thanks, Dottie, for inviting me to your living room.
No problem.
I'm going to read from Dear Body. It's the first and title piece of the poem is a series of imaginary letters from body to self, body to spirit, something. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. But I'm just going to start in. Letter to D. You may find that accepting this inevitable fact about your life will not be easy. Herein I describe the state of being delimited by this perfunctory container. Although you held your hand over my heart, I could not believe your touch. No, strike that insane cliche and replace it with an equation. I led them down a false path to discover the humane genome. Meanwhile, you were hiding underneath a table. At one time, they too could assemble you out of grass, an abandoned rug, and decaying vegetables. We prayed to your effigy like to a beautiful library book you wanted to steal, the perfect never-noticed crime. Many years later, indexing doubts about your presence, you uncovered lost plans for some extreme city. Or you as your own forbidden lover who meets yourself late at night in a forgotten deco motel. A brief conversation about ephemera, each word drenched with sexual potential. You know I've never believed in your hope. So somehow the limbs attached to a trunk of meat and toes of faced lips that say a nose balding, teeth barely. Oh, how this house whispers beneath the dinner table. Letter in which we type these letters. We tried to type the pattern out, each of the letters so perfectly repeating that I stored them on separate index cards, as if to tell time through lack of ego, as if an envelope to be discovered later after death, a kiss in a movie. I was never a professional. I would tell you I'm a writer, but always unwrite houses. I too have been there to this ship, addressing topics, how specifically I unheard this story you would look sad in. On May 2nd, remember? The rainy day, the day of Shadow Man. I was going to save you part of the brioche, but you were late and I ate it all myself, and you never knew it existed. I undressed for the 10,000th time and you didn't laugh, but instead we examined each other as separate entities. Hell, I said, I'm done with writing, I want to hold your life in. Letter of critique. Your critique of our correspondence as some sort of proto-self, rejecting urgency of the world and all outward responsibilities, ignores many households with only one person, millions who seek new forms and patterns so we are not collectively digressing. I was saying this over a glass of wine, ignoring your condemnation, based on the inevitability of my behavior, or as you might put it, pre-programmed characteristics. I myself have surfed the old forms, tried living with humans, written poems about your incredible eyes, for instance, and the fourth eye that enters at dusk, or when meditating on in-betweens, laughing at nothing in particular. Dear Body, you write, they proclaimed the house was no longer a dwelling, but we slept there often enough to film ourselves, itemizing each moment with a dash. I am forever cleaning you away as if dash, dash, the pencil breaks. You were twirling it adeptly during the meeting. The pencil, other worlds, I thought. You are here and I am thinking, no typing, you are not these words. I'm going to read from a few from the second section of this poem, which is called Antibodies, and it's little poems, each exactly 6 lines and 7 syllables each. Subitus, where did you go? You were loved among poets. You who wrote the famous quip about the professional poet who loved the large dog but let him die of neglect. Artificialis, I write this to your memory, you of the plastic violence who looks prepackaged in death. Even you would admit that uniqueness is a quaint myth. Minus, you were so thin then, under the tulip nothing, where you recited visions. I can't recall what I was to you, stately underling or boy who brought you water. What you cannot ever say, what you can't afford to say, what happens before you sleep, what you slip inside your mind, what you dream never happened, what you forget to write down. 0, you lost me before. Epitome, over here. 0, I meant your meaning. Epitome, so did I. 0, was it a left door? Epitome, you were right. Thanks.